In our product backlog, we have a number of product backlog items. We have user stories, we have spikes, there's some defects. Now, the user stories are most common because they represent the features and the requirements that the user wants. They're valuable to the users. But product backlogs can also contain lots of other items. They can have ideas, risks that need to be mitigated, action items that need to be tracked. All these can be placed in the product backlog. This represents an ordered list of user needs and everything else that needs to be done on the project. The product backlog represents requirements. So every one of these items is saying what needs to be done. The product backlog items do not say how the team should fulfill the item. The how is included in the task breakdown when the team commits to the item in the sprint planning meeting. Now, the product owner is the one that owns this product backlog and is responsible for keeping it updated. They add new product backlog items to the list as they are discovered, and the product backlog is the single source of requirements on the project. Now, the product owner is also responsible for prioritizing these. You can see that they're ranked. Now, note, this is a single item queue, so there can only be one top priority item at any time. During the sprint planning meeting, these highest priority items are going to be moved to the sprint backlog and be committed to being developed in the next sprint. While the lowest priority items down here at the bottom, these are going to be the last ones to be implemented, and sometimes they may not even be implemented at all. In this way, the current sprint is always going to be having the features that are the highest priority to the customer. Now, any stakeholder can view this product backlog to see what features will be implemented next and where the features important to them maybe down here are, where they appear in the product backlog. Now, this provides transparency for the stakeholders on what will be included in the upcoming sprints. Also, anyone can ask the product owner to add a new item to the product backlog. It tends to grow and change as the project goes on, and more is discovered about the project and the customer needs. However, only the product owner is the one that can prioritize where existing or new items fit in to the prioritized list. Now, the user stories initially added to the product backlog are quite large, capturing broad features like these at the bottom of the list. You can see pull in customer information for marketing campaigns. That's part of a CRM initiative. That's really hard to tell what's in there. It sounds huge to me. Also, use customer buying records to target advertising when logged in. Well, that's huge too. That's just a broad requirement. However, user stories are refined and split into smaller user stories during the backlog grooming meeting. During this meeting, the highest priority items on the list, those at the top, are discussed, acceptance criteria is added, and the item is estimated. So you can see these items here at the top of the list are much smaller. They have estimates. And if you look at them, each one includes acceptance criteria. And the user stories are sized. If they're too large, they're split into smaller user stories until they're sized to fit in a single sprint. However, the product grooming meeting only focuses on these higher priority items at the top of the list. So the items at the top of the backlog tend to be well understood and smaller, able to be completed in a single sprint, while the lower priority items at the bottom tend to be quite large with very few details. Now, during the sprint planning meeting, these items at the top of the list will be moved from this product backlog to the sprint backlog as the team commits to completing the work in the next sprint. So as the top priority items are moved to the sprint backlog, the lower priority items will move up into the list in the ranking. Then they will be groomed in future product backlog grooming meetings. In this way, the product backlog should always be ready for the next sprint backlog meeting, with well understood high priority items at the top of the list.